When you hear the words Ghana must go, what is it that comes to your mind? For most people, what they remember, for those who are old enough, they remember the pictures, the images of people leaving Nigeria, and most of them Ghanaians carrying those bags, those checkered bags that we now call Ghana must go. But the truth is that really where the story begins? I don't think so. I don't believe that's where the story begins. I think that's because history, often begins much earlier than our memory does. Most people know regarding that story that in 1983, January, Nigeria expelled undocumented foreign nationals at the time. The decision was announced by the president at the time, Shehu Shagari, because there was severe, economic difficulty in the country. And among those affected, were a lot of Ghanaians, hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians were affected. That's a story that most people remember, and they're able to associate the story with the bags when they leave, as they were leaving Nigeria at the time, because a lot of people that were immigrants in Nigeria at the time were Ghanaians. But let's go back. Let's go back 14 years, because this is where the story becomes much more interesting. On December 2nd, 1969, there was Ghana's Prime Minister at the time, Dr. Kofi Abrefa Busia, who issued what became known as the Aliens Compliance Order. Now, I want you to remember that. 14 years before 1983, that was December 2nd, 1969, there was an order in Ghana. It was called the Aliens Compliance Order by Dr. Kofi Busia, that required every illegal immigrant to leave Ghana. So the order, in the order, it gave all of them, all foreign nationals who were undocumented, 14 days to leave Ghana. 14 days. I want you to remember that, 14 days. And those affected were many Nigerians, Togolese, people from Upper Volta, which is today's Burkina Faso, migrants from Ivory Coast, which is now Cote d'Ivoire, and many other West African countries, including Mali. It was a very huge event. It wasn't small at all. It affected hundreds of thousands of people. Some Nigerians built houses and had to leave their homes in Accra to come to Nigeria, and many other people from other African countries. Remember, these were people from other African countries. Now let's fast forward 1983, January. President Shehu Shagari issued his own, Nigeria issued his own expulsion order, asking all undocumented foreigners to leave within 2 weeks, which was almost about 14 days as well. Of course, there were some that left a little later, depending on the categories that they fell. And large number of Ghanaians were among those affected. So I wanted to say that again. So now we have 1969, we have 1983. So now, here's where the conversations usually stop, at the Nigerian Ghana must go. Now, but this is not where the story ends. People ask, was Nigeria retaliating? Maybe Nigeria was retaliating. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe it was retaliating. It's a reasonable question. See? But it's also the kind of question that we have to answer very carefully, because it might easily be misleading, because there were specific reasons given for that. So, what does the evidence tell us? Some historians argue that the memories and the trauma and the feelings that people had in 1969, those who were part of the Aliens Compliance Order, formed some of the background for what happened in 1983. Some argue that Nigeria was going through a lot of economic recession, unemployment, failing oil revenue, immigration concerns, and other things. The important thing is that history is really explained by one factor only. So those are very serious reasons, very maybe valid reasons to issue the order for everyone to leave. So whether 1983 was a retaliation of what happened in 1969, we simply just cannot understand the event of 1983 without understanding what happened in 1969. Even though one event may not necessarily explain the other event, but one event certainly provides context for the other event. We cannot isolate things on the timeline of history. So Ghana did something, then Nigeria did something. Both countries had very serious reason why they did what they did. I'm sure they believe that. Now, when we begin history in the wrong place, we often reach the wrong conclusions. And that's true for not only for Ghana and Nigeria, but also true for anything, almost everything. from politics to technology to business to culture to religion to relationship, just about anything. And it's more true, or truer, if you like, for what is happening right now in South Africa, where South Africans are expelling Africans from their country. It's exactly what happened in Ghana, exactly what happened in Nigeria, and exactly what's happening in South Africa. There's nothing new about it. So history really begins. It really begins, from when we want it to begin. It begins a lot, earlier than that. So if we only remember 1983, we will misunderstand the true story. If we start from 1969, we may have a context for the story. We may have something a little more clearer as to why we believe something from the president for another thing. But the big question is, how many times, and how many stories do we misunderstand simply because we started reading them from the middle, or we started listening to stories from the middle instead of from the beginning? Yesterday it was Ghana, remember. The other day it was, it was Ghana must go in Nigeria. The other day it was the alien compliance order in Ghana. Today, it is South Africans. All these three countries, they did exactly the same thing to their fellow African people. I want you to remember. So while anyone can complain, Nigerians complain, Ghana complain, I'm not making case for anyone at all. Tomorrow, it may be people in Lilongwe, Malawi, or people in Lusaka, Zambia, or Harare, Zimbabwe, that say, hey, you have to leave. And it may be South Africans that are asked to leave now, right? So if you are a Ghanaian, did you know that in 1969, people got hurt? Some people died. If you're Nigerian, are you aware that families were separated in Nigeria? People lost their life. Ghanaians lost their life. Other people from other African countries, including Cameroon, they lost their lives. Ghanaians lost their lives. Nigerians lost their lives in Ghana. In South Africa, they are doing exactly the same thing now. So before you get too emotional about things, this is what's been going on in our continent, brothers to brothers. And you, that are watching me now, you are probably executing your own Ghana must go as I speak. You just don't know it. See what I mean? So people are doing the same thing, repeating the same thing in history. There's nothing new about it. There's nothing new about it. I'm not making case for anyone. I'm not making case for Nigeria. I'm not making case for Ghana. I'm not making case for South Africa. I'm only saying that these are things that have happened in the past, and we must be honest enough to face the reality. What we need to do is to fix it so it doesn't happen again. Now, as long as we are complaining without going back in history to know how we got here, and I can tell you some other things about South Africa as well, maybe another day, not today. But I'm telling you, as long as we don't fix it, we are pointing fingers, we are not going to make progress. We can change the world, not by our prime minister, not by United Nations, not by WHO, not by your prime minister or president. No, one person at a time. Imagine that one person helps another person. Just not two, just one. Imagine that you are not busy looking for how to victimize someone that is weaker just because you think you have the upper hand, which some people that are watching me now are doing exactly the same thing. You're a landlord, you own a house, you are doing the same thing to your tenant. You're a lecturer at the university, you are tormenting the student. See what I mean? See, you are a boss at work, you're making life miserable for people that work under you just because you are the boss. You are a police officer, you don't mind maltreating people, killing people, including people that are innocent, that you know. It's the same thing we're doing, we're just doing it at different levels. But I'm saying we can change the world if we look inward and then make a decision that we want to make the world a better place. The next time you are crying about something that's going wrong, you need to go back in history and check where you're coming from. Maybe you may find something on the timeline of your history that lets you know you're only repeating something that you did before. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Let's talk about something else another time.